Happy NFL Draft Day. And now we're going to go out to the smartest man in college football, our very own Joel Klatt. He's our expert on the NFL Draft, certainly about these quarterbacks. And let's start with the most intriguing one. Maybe not the best one, but the most intriguing. Tua Tagovailoa. We had the conversation earlier in the week, Joel, about Tua and whether or not the Patriots might move up in the draft to get Tua. Should the Patriots, I want to ask you, Joel, should the Patriots go out in the draft today and try to get Tua Tagovailoa?
It's interesting, right? And in particular, in light of I don't know if you guys saw a couple of weeks back, Daniel Jeremiah tweeted out a picture of an old Bill Belichick, basically scouting profile. And these are how you should scout each player. And when it talked about the quarterback, I saw basically decision-making as being the priority, right? And from my seat, Tua makes great decisions on the field. I mean, the ball goes to the proper spot. He's the type of guy that gets rid of it quickly. It's on time. It's on target. All of those things, yes. But there's also an element for the Patriots, and in particular Bill Belichick, that Tom Brady has provided, and that's reliability. He's been on the field, right? You're not going to go win Super Bowls if your starting quarterback misses multiple games every single year, and that's the problem with Tua. And then there's also this aspect of the way that the COVID crisis has affected each team's ability to get their hands on players and actually have their doctors look at these players. And here's where the relationship between Nick Saban and Bill Belichick is so important, because I believe that Belichick trusts Saban implicitly, and Saban is vouching for Tua, his health, his character, everything about him, his play on the field. And because of that, I don't think that this is out of the realm of possibility that the Patriots might get aggressive, in particular if Tua starts to slide. And that's something that I am starting to hear around the league, is that Miami and the LA Chargers may pass on Tua up there at the top of the draft. If he gets past 6, watch out. Guys, that's where I think New England may get aggressive if they see some value there with Tua sliding down the draft.
I just don't think it makes sense for the New England Patriots. I love Tua. He's my favorite prospect at the quarterback position this year, and I think there's a little gap between him and the rest. But with that said, he doesn't fit the New England Patriots situation right now. They're cash-strapped. They're against the cap. More importantly, when you talk about already having an investment on your roster by the name of Jarrett Stidham, let's see what he's made of. Let's see him go out there in public display, either succeed or die on his sword in terms of what he's going to be as a player. This is a guy who learned from Tom Brady versus now you draft a Tua. Who's he going to learn from, Brian Hoyer or Jarrett Stidham? Like, there's a whole different situation occurring in New England than in L.A. with the Chargers or in Miami. So this is a situation where you have to play the guy that you've already invested in, you're speaking highly of, and I'm familiar with that situation. When they let Bruce Smith go, I was this small school second rounder who just needed a chance. And I balled with my opportunity. Not saying how this is going to work out for those guys, but at least use the opportunity you have in front of you, which is get a return on your investment in Jarrett Stidham.
Listen, the Patriots believe, and particularly Bill Belichick, in competition. Obviously, they fell into Tom Brady. But when it became decision-making time, Bill Belichick moved on from Drew Bledsoe. I think he'll do the same thing here in terms of put some competition out there for Jarrett Stidham. Go out and get a Tua Tagovailoa. Nothing wrong with that. All right, let's move on to the other, perhaps lesser-known quantity, but just as intriguing. Jordan Love, the quarterback out of Utah State. A lot of questions about, is he a project? How soon could he play? Joel, is Jordan Love worth a first-round pick as a potential project?
Borderline. And I think it has everything to do with the situation that your organization is in, because I do believe that he's going to have to sit behind an experienced starter and learn a little bit. There's two main concerns with Jordan Love. Number one, the interceptions he threw last year, 17 of them led the FBS. Number two is he's got some red flags, caution flags, if you will, off the field. He was cited for marijuana right before the bowl game. Now, I know it's not about the marijuana, right? And it's not about the drug program or this or that. It's just the fact that he made that decision and put himself in that position before a bowl game. So it's a decision-making off the field issue as much as anything. Those are the two things that teams are a little bit leery of right now. But rest assured, this dude is incredibly athletic. He's got all the tools in the toolbox. He's got a big arm. And if you go back a couple of years when he did have an offensive-minded coach in Matt Wells and a really good quarterback-centric offensive coordinator in David Yost, he played great football. Fast forward this year, lost his coach, lost his offensive coordinator. He was one of only 2 starters returning for Utah State. That's part of the reason why his numbers declined in almost every single category.
I like him. And if I'm listening to our own TJ Houshmandzadeh, who was telling us about this guy, Jordan Love, for many a months, you should love him in terms of what the comparisons are between him and Justin Herbert. Like, obviously, we know the physical specimen of Herbert, and more importantly, the bigger arm is obviously going to enamor most scouts. But according to TJ, and from some things you can see on film, in the pocket, the ability to go through your progressions, Jordan Love has that advantage over Justin. And more so, the athletic ability is something that where he can make plays and he can extend plays and he can do it with his arm and he can do it with his legs. So this is a situation where you can get him into a top-tier NFL team and you get all of a sudden you get this project that is really a diamond in the rough in terms of being maximized with resources and coaches and weapons. So Jordan Love is something to fall in love with. I agree with TJ. He's something that's going to be special going forward.
I love him as a first-round flyer late, anywhere after 20, a good team that, look, even my Kansas City Chiefs, and they have an embarrassment of riches at quarterback with Patrick Mahomes, obviously. But why not? You can never have too many good quarterbacks. They may have trade value later on down the road. So, yeah, I think he's worth a first-round flyer. If this guy pans out, you got an asset that he can play for you in the case of injury or someone you could trade and move on from. All right, let's keep it rolling, and let's move on to Jalen Hurts, who we had on the program earlier this week. And, Joel, I asked Jalen an interesting question. He's so well known for being a high-character leader, and I'm wondering if the intangibles are overshadowing and making us unappreciative of his actual quarterback talents. Are the intangibles clouding our view of just how talented Jalen Hurts is?
I think that they might be clouding our view, right, from the outside in, but I don't think that they're clouding the view of decision makers in the NFL because they see the talent, namely the ability to evade, right? Like, his athleticism is second to none, finished second in the Heisman Trophy voting, largely due to the fact that he was such a dangerous athlete running around. That doesn't mean that he doesn't throw the ball well. He throws it incredibly well. He does need to develop a little bit when it comes to anticipating windows and anticipating throws, and I think that can potentially happen. Think about how many offensive coaches that this guy has had to play for. Right, all those coordinators at Alabama that started running through there and getting extra jobs, then he moves completely to Oklahoma and has to play for Lincoln Riley. Some stability around offensive schematics would really help his development moving forward. I love his intangibles, but I also love his play. If you could get him in that third round, late third round, with a team like a Baltimore situation where you can put him in an offense where he can evade and escape a little bit, I think that he's got some real upside in this draft.
Of course they overshadow his actual talent. Even Joel just admitted it. He's going to go in the third, fourth round probably. When the guy was a Heisman hopeful and almost won the Heisman, so he should be higher than a third, fourth rounder at the quarterback position. But what happened is he got caught up in the machinery of, you see him at Alabama and people are like, oh, here we go, another Greg McElroy, and not giving him his full credit. And then he gets caught up in the machinery of Oklahoma and them producing so many great quarterbacks of late. Oh, he's just a product of the system, or just another system quarterback. He couldn't win for losing. And then more importantly, because he was such a great citizen, such a great man of character in how he dealt with being benched at Alabama, that played well in the real world, and that played horribly in the sports world because someone wanted to see him act a fool, show that competitive spirit and that wildfire, that killer instinct, be Jordan-esque, whatever it is. Don't sit down on an opportunity to go out there and fight for yours. So I just think that he got caught up in, like you said, the intangibles getting lost based on his talent level.
Only thing I disagree with, I don't think it hurt him in the sports world. No one wants to see a quarterback act like a diva wide receiver. No one wants him to handle it like Dez Bryant. All right, Joel, we're going to get you out of here on this note. We're going to go back to the A block. You got about 30, 45 seconds. You think the Bengals will regret not taking the most talented person in this draft, Chase Young?
No, I don't think that they'll regret it. And this coming from a guy who, when he was a true freshman and the first time he stepped on the field against Maryland before his first sack in college football, I said he would be a top 5 pick when he eventually came out. I love Chase Young, but here's the bottom line. Defensive ends don't put points on the board, and their impact is largely felt once you have a lead. You've got to build that lead first. You do that via quarterback play. You protect that quarterback. Then and only then do you get after the quarterback in order to become a great team.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. And be sure to check out more of the best clips from Speak For Yourself, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.